Welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Studio filling up over here at the UDL. Montook is here. Noah back in with us. Something's buzzing. Lloyd is here with us.
We're always buzzing.
Always buzzing to start the show. I think you just figured it out. There it is.
Nope.
You're on the wire, though. Here on this Tuesday morning, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Shea Dixon going to be here in the second hour. We'll talk recruiting. Big recruiting weekend for a lot of Louisiana prospects as they'll be down in Tuscaloosa. We'll ask Shea Dixon some of the ramifications of what Saturday could mean for LSU Bama coming up here in the second hour of today's show.
There we go.
We made our first bet yesterday over at LaBerge. Montook was a wreck. He was a wreck. T-Bob couldn't get over how manic. Hey, T-Bob was like, this guy's unbelievable. This is one of the best center fielders in LSU baseball history.
And you know what happened? I lost already. First bet.
He can't settle on Liberty or Kansas City. He doesn't know what he's doing.
He's pacing back and forth at the
He's got to go back to the sports book. I know this. Culotta's 1-0 after his. He's just waiting on the Alabama Crimson Tide.
And surprise, surprise, I'm 0-1. I already lost my freaking two-team parlay.
To kiss off this two-game parlay, could collect $1,800. From the sports book, if Alabama pulls it back at 27.5, I'm feeling good going into Saturday.
Now the real question is, do you hedge?
No, not at this point.
Okay.
I'm feeling good.
We already got the first
feeling
one.
good. Yeah, that was the hardest part.
Well, now you can't lose if you hedge.
I kind of feel like I'm playing with house money right now.
The little Giants win.
You are playing with house money.
So what is the bet that you put in, so the people know?
So yesterday we show up to LaBerge. Montook and I were in the group that they invited out there. And by the way, shout out to everybody over at LaBerge Sportsbook, and Barstool Sportsbook is coming soon to the property here in Baton Rouge. But it was a great day. Ronnie Rance was emceeing, your boy. Lloyd, he was asking about Lizzie. He was in his element.
Yeah, me and Ron go way back.
He was in his element. Yeah, a couple of
together forever for I don't know why.
A couple of soulmates there.
Yeah, I need to hear the stories.
And it was Maneri, Dee Bro, T-Bob was there. Rohan was actually like the master of ceremony. I mean, he was the guy, man.
Yeah, he cut
the ribbon and placed the first bet. And then Montook and I.
Yep, and then Jeremy
sleuthing around in the background.
Yeah, Hill was on the docket and no showed. But they give us an envelope when we show up. They give us all an envelope full of cash. I'm talking about like crisp $100 bills.
Oh yeah,
casino money.
Yeah. I mean like the new 100s. You know what I mean? Smells good. Hadn't even been there. No creases. No creases.
So Ron didn't get them yet.
And so that's exactly right. So they ask that we all make a bet and that it's all a 2-game parlay. Everybody gets $500 and you got a 2-game parlay that you got to play. And if you win, you collect all. They gave Rohan $1,000 and asked him for a 3-game parlay. And I think they forced his picks. I think they were I know he liked the Tide.
Yeah.
I was walking around by saying row tide. He was saying I got to play the Tigers. I got to play the Tigers. But it was cool, man. It's kind of set up back there by the poker room. In the casino. Yeah, that's right, for now. As Kim was telling us, the general manager of the property, they're opening up a 9,000 square foot space coming up here pretty shortly.
The restaurant, the stadium restaurant. So it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be a cool. They have embraced it. And I know for Mikey and I, Mikey can speak for it. It was just cool to be there on day one.
It was cool. They had some action too. I mean, there were people waiting in line. We got the first bet. Cameras in our face. I panicked. I panicked and I made the wrong bet. I didn't know if I wanted to take Liberty money line or if I wanted to take Liberty plus 9.5, or I just want to stick with Ole Miss. And you know what? I ended up going Chiefs minus 10.5, and obviously
that is a panic.
The Chiefs stink. What the hell is going on?
What is going on
with the Kansas City Chiefs?
I would say this more than anything.
Stink.
I think the defenses have figured them out. I think this is more of a testament to NFL defensive coordinators than it is the backtracking of the Chiefs. Because all they're doing is playing flag football defense against them. They're just building a wall.
It took them 4 years to figure them out. 3 years to figure them out. You know what I mean? Like 3 years. You've had 3 years, and now all of a sudden you figure them out. I don't know what's going on.
Something's off. Something's not right. You know what? You could also. They have had a lot of turnover on the offensive line.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It starts with the O-line. They've been getting pressure on Patrick, and defenses are taking away the middle of the field. That's where Mahomes likes it. He likes to go to Tyreek across. He likes Travis Kelce in the middle, but they're flooding that part of the field. and he can't go sideline.
Love the Patrick, the first name basis over there. Love the Patrick.
My boy Patty.
And Kelsey is getting old.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first time in his game, you see that he's. I mean, they had a bad turnover last night. But I think that defenses are figuring out they're taking away his strengths. The offensive line is backtracked. I mean, I was watching somebody Baltimore the other day, and I think Eric Fisher, that left tackle that was on their Super Bowl team, was playing. And I thought, I mean, that's a
he was number one pick.
He's a Pro Bowler.
And then the doctor that they had that was the right guard. He was he was a French. He was.
I know who you're talking.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
He's now playing for I think the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, his offensive line has been just shredded. And I mean, it's I think it goes into saying it doesn't matter if you're Patrick Mahomes or it doesn't matter if you're Max Johnson. If you don't have an offensive line, it's tough to play football, man.
Right.
And you saw when it happened. It happened in the Super Bowl. That's when it seemed like they got a little bit exposed.
Yeah.
You could get there with a little bit of a pass rush. As long as if you don't blitz Mahomes,
if you can get
he
there
really
in the
won't
front
beat
four,
you. You know,
Right.
If you can kind of, like you said, just kind of build a little bit of a wall. Mahomes will try to escape and make a play because he only wants the huge play. He's always looking for that huge chunk play. Because he knows they can't really run the ball that effectively.
Right.
And he has Tyreek, like he said himself, bleep it, where's Tyreek?
Yeah.
And he would just throw it.
Yeah.
So that's what he's trying to do, and it's just,
And
that's why you get the turnovers,
they're not
and
getting
then
behind the defense
is on the
anymore.
wall,
Yeah.
like defense is on the field a lot.
I mean, that pick he threw in the end zone, I mean, he threw it 98 miles per hour off the guy's helmet.
I mean, it bounced off the guy's
he did,
head.
jump
The
past
guy, he didn't even know where it was. I mean, after it came off his head, he was like,
Concussion protocol.
I mean, that had to go straight to the ground, huh?
Ah.
But it's fascinating to see because he does look very, not pedestrian, but he does look human.
he leads the NFL. He leads the
Yeah.
NFL in interceptions.
I know.
It's 10.
And it's like his ball handling, like the ball hits the
cavalier with the-
ground.
yeah.
Like the ball, it's just very loose. I mean,
It looks
it's
like Texas Tech. I mean,
Tell you
that's what
what,
it
yeah.
looked like in college.
Jackson Mahomes, he ruined him. His little brother.
bro. I felt so sorry for him on that TikTok that him and his wife and his brother put
Sorry
out.
for
Oh my
felt bad for
gosh.
Patrick.
Patrick Mahomes.
He's just
Okay.
sitting there, and
When he's just like eating the chip in the back, and I mean, like he is the
You
best.
don't have to hang out with him.
He's
though.
the best athlete in
your
the world.
brother.
I mean, I want to say to him,
So?
say like, yeah, dude,
I agree with you.
cut this guy out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
like,
hey, let's do this with nobody can see us anymore. And hey, actually, this is what I really want to talk about. That TikTok, they're same side. He's the same sider guy. Him and his wife.
yes, they all sit on the same side of the table.
Same siders.
Yeah.
You
It's like
can't-
three across the front of
Like
the truck, bro.
turning here, looking like this, and talking the entire dinner.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break. Get on the other side of me.
I did notice that.
hate same siders.
All right, so really, before we jump
gotta
into it,
unpack the same cider conversation a little bit later because I found this fascinating.
You've never heard that?
No, but who the hell would like have
That's what I
try to
mean.
talk to you like this?
But
like,
think about
you
it.
go straight across.
well, I mean, if you're in a booth,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not all going to jam into one side of the booth,
Right.
Are you a booth people or want the actual chairs
I
and
like
the
that.
table?
I like both. Depends on the booth. How
It
big the
does depend
booth
on the
is.
booth.
Booth seems a little like, high schoolish.
Does, but you
I mean-
can't beat a comfortable booth.
Yeah, like if
Yeah,
you
it
put your arm
depends on what
out.
you're doing. Like dating, no booth.
Hate high top seats.
Yeah, unless
I
you're
don't
with the
like-
boys.
I don't like my feet. I want my feet to touch the
Oh,
ground.
yeah,
I
don't
want
touch
to
the
touch
ground.
I'm so used to the dangle, dude. Like,
Me too, bro. I'm dangling right now.
Me too.
Right,
did
daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Remember, online at GEAUX, Our Spices Papa Earls, 30% less sodium than the competition. You can pick it up anywhere locally. Calandro's, Rouse's, High Neighbor. Our water is True Blue Water, TRU, bluewater.com for you to hop on the delivery route today. And all of our guests via the phone line or compliments of Metropolitan Health Group, Real Doctors, Real Solutions, with Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan over at Metropolitan Health Group. See them at Metropolitan Health Group, Real Doctors, Real Solutions. All right, so Kansas City's offense is very head-scratching when you look at it in the NFL standpoint. LSU's offense has been up and down this season, and they got the news yesterday that Myles Brennan is hitting the transfer portal. That's the biggest news here of Bama Week. Yesterday, Ed Ogeron spoke to the media. Didn't say anything too, I thought, monumental in his press conference. I think he did tip off that Chasen Hines is going to play. He did say that Sage Ryan is going to be out, so the prospects of that defensive backfield.
Yeah, they keep going down.
Holy cow. I mean, you're going into Tuscaloosa against a really good receiving core, and
Yeah.
you're asking Darren Evans to be ready to play. When I
Yeah.
heard him mention Darren Evans by name yesterday, I thought LSU was in for a hell
he couldn't stop
of a weekend.
Your second half of your parlay is looking real nice.
I mean, like, you know, like
Might go back to the window.
I really did feel like last night was the hump to get over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt like if we can get past Monday, Saturday looks good.
How good does it feel to take the points?
I didn't even get halfway
when you were
up
watching the
mountain.
game where you're like, yeah.
Yeah,
I got a 10 and a half cushion.
And the best part about it is we didn't get home till about the third quarter and turned it on. It was 14-10. So, you know, like the game's kind of, you feel it out by then. You know, like you kind of found your way.
It was 14-10. I was like, okay, they just go down there. Chiefs go down there, score touchdowns 21-10. And I'm like, okay, we're good.
Now you're in play.
Didn't happen, right?
And
the Chiefs were up 14-10, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was I was like 21-10. I was like, I'll be good. 21-10. Did they go up that much? Danny Dimes has to throw. He's gonna make a mistake. Get the ball. Maybe have one more trash touchdown. Did not work that way.
I gave the everybody was kind of like sleeping in the house and gave like the scream on the Giants pick that they called him offsides. You know what I mean?
Welcome to gambling, boys.
Let's go.
Nothing better.
Sorry. My fault.
I'll see myself out.
Giants pick though. We're in play. We're good.
Name 3 players on the team. I can't.
Go blue. Yeah, I've got no idea. Is Ryan Perilou still on this roster?
He's got a Super Bowl
Yeah,
ring.
he did. He absolutely did. But Myles Brennan, I want to say that, golly, I hate this for Myles Brennan because if you followed Myles Brennan's story, what Myles Brennan loved more than anything, and you could probably relate to this more than a lot of people, is that he loved LSU.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it didn't matter who came in at the last minute. They had a coaching change. They had things happening with Myles Brennan, and he never wavered
he got
on
the
LSU.
He got the short end of the stick. He came in as a big recruit, right? Like, he was a 4-star recruit, loved LSU. This is where he always wanted to be. And we're good.
Yeah, we're good. That's a little
Very,
jig.
yeah, very
I was
good.
like,
It's
I
eerie.
was confused right there. But yeah, so he knew that's where he always wanted to be, and so he got here and he's like, all right, I'm gonna get here. I'm gonna be behind. Was it Etling first?
It was Etling.
Yep.
Etling first, and he's like, okay, then it's my time. Then Joe Burrow comes, and he doesn't leave.
But people forget, Bud. He played as a true
Alabama.
freshman
Yeah.
at Alabama.
Yeah, he did. Yes,
they
he
put
did.
him in the game,
Yes,
and there
they
was
did.
a lot of talk in that building with Matt Canada at that time that there were weeks where he believed Brennan gave them the best chance to win because he could just throw the ball down the field.
Yeah.
He didn't believe in Etling's arm.
Right.
Canada didn't believe that they could extend the field, and there were like weeks where like people were like, I'm kind of hearing that they want Brennan to play.
Yeah.
And that was real telling that they put him in on the road in Tuscaloosa as a true freshman, and you're sitting there thinking, wow, the future's
Kind of
bright.
Yeah. And then so he plays, and then Joey B comes. Obviously, he gets the job. He doesn't transfer. He stays. He's
Red
like, you know
shirts,
what?
coach.
I'm gonna redshirt. I'm gonna sit behind this guy because I think he saw like, you know what, Joe has a little bit different thing than I've ever seen. He learns, gets his opportunity last year. Looked really good. I thought he looked pretty good when he played for the 3 games. I think Joe helped him with the way he like studied film and was just being a professional. You know,
Becoming a football player.
yeah. And so I'm like, you know what, this guy, and then he freaking gets hurt last year. And I was just bad luck.
It never worked out.
And then
Yeah.
it just never.
I mean, like as crazy it is to say that he was the guy that was here and kind of it was his time to take the next step when Joe Burrow shows up, right? I mean, like talk about timing. If you're a quarterback and you're just sitting there and it's your
Knight in
opportunity,
shining armor.
and here comes the best player in program history.
Right.
They've been playing football for 130 years, and this is the best to ever do it. Shows up for 2 years while you're supposed to be the guy, and then you kind of accept that. You understand that this is a really good opportunity for you to sit, learn, like you point out, watch film, communicate with coaches, break down. How does he go through his game day? He was his road roommate.
Right.
That was huge. You know, people really were looking like at that as something that, you know, Myles Brennan was kind of seeing greatness from the front row. He was getting a front row seat of it, and when it was becoming his time, he was going to be ready. And last year, he was ready.
Yeah, he looked good.
I mean, he really was. And
he beefed up a little bit, gained some weight. Like he looked good.
And he started to look and kind of command that position. And as soon as that happens, he has this freak injury that doctors have never seen. Like that goes into the Brennan story where it's just like This is wild.
Yeah.
Like the doctor tells him, if I perform this surgery, it'll be like Tommy John. It'll be the Myles Brennan surgery because we've never done it. We believe in it. We think that you can improve on it, but it's going to be the first time that it ever happens. So if you're in, let's do it. And he decides to rehab it. And next thing you know, he's in another quarterback competition and he slips and falls on a fishing trip and does something to his arm going into a competition where he's got a legit chance to be the starter. We said here, I thought Max Johnson would win it, but it still would have been a competition.
Yeah.
And to see all of that happen for a guy that at the end of the day, at the baseline of it, loves LSU.
Loves LSU. And that's the most important. Like, you know what? Like, I am very, I don't want to say proud because, like, I don't know. I want to say proud, but, like,
it's cool.
It's a great thing to see. It's like someone, you know what? Like, I know you probably could have transferred a couple times and you didn't, and you stuck it out. And it didn't work out for you, but I respect that, you know, because it's the day and age with the transfer portal and everybody just leaving, and you have Tate Martell going to 18 different schools, and like because you want to play. This guy had loyalty to LSU, the team that he loved growing up, and he stayed there, and he stayed as long as he could. I don't blame him for transferring. I hope he goes out there and I hope he becomes an All-American next year.
Yeah, you pull for him.
It shows how much he wanted to stay at LSU because he could have transferred 3 different times from now. But now this is literally was probably the hardest decision he's ever made in his life.
And nobody would have criticized him. Nobody. Everybody would have understood. Everybody would have seen why that decision was being made. And now that it's happening at this point, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It really does. If I was advising Myles Brennan, if I was a part of his team, I would tell him, I'd say, man, take that arm and go to the league.
Yeah.
Don't take those hits for free. But if you want the experience of playing college football, then who the hell am I to tell you not to get that? You know, I mean, the reason why he says, and Brian Burgess says, I'm surprised that Brennan didn't hit the transfer portal before now. Brian, it's because he loved LSU. He grew up wanting to be the quarterback at LSU.
And he had a legitimate chance of being the quarterback every year he was here. Yeah. Outside of the Joe Burrow second year, the first year was a competition. Like, Joe probably was going to win. Second year, no, for sure. But he almost, like you said, freshman year, he almost took the job from Etling. And then after Joe left, he was the guy. And then just unfortunate injuries and stuff happened.
Just freak stuff.
A broken humerus, dude?
Freak stuff.
On the opposite arm, like, it's crazy.
Slipping and falling on a fishing trip and breaking your arm. I mean, like, we've all had a couple of,
whatevers,
and just done something stupid and lived to tell about it, where you don't have to, lose 6 months of your life rehabbing a broken arm. I mean, it just crazy stuff has happened in and around Brennan while he was here, and it sucks because he wanted the best for the program and everybody wanted the best for him. You know what I mean? And it just never aligned. And I hope that he gets that 1 year wherever he goes next year, and we could talk about some possible landing spots. He's a Mississippi kid from Bay St. Louis, went to St. Stanislaus. You got to think with Lane Kiffin and the turnover there at Matt Corral, Ole Miss makes a lot of sense. Steve Sarkisian at Texas makes a lot of sense.
I was thinking he fits Mississippi State's offense.
Mississippi State, anywhere right there, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I hope he goes there and has 1 year where he lights it up.
Yeah.
Where he is
me too.
Healthy, where he plays every down, where he's got big moments, where he shows off his arm, and he has a chance to get. I think that he's an NFL backup quarterback. I mean, if you watch NFL quarterback play, it's amazing the drop off.
Yeah,
it is amazing.
The Cowboys game the other night,
the Cooper Rush is just like it's and they win, but it's.
He actually looked pretty good though.
He's got highs and lows, you know what I mean? Yeah. But
the
lows of a backup quarterback in the NFL are
low.
Unreal.
I mean, the Saints are there right now.
Sewer level.
Especially when you go from Dak Prescott, who's probably going to win the MVP, to this guy, and you're just like, goodness gracious. And then you still beat Kirk Cousins.
Oh, that's a Kirk Cousins issue right there. But the Saints are in the same, like when you start talking about backup quarterbacks, they're in that same mold right now.
Sure.
Like, Trevor looked great for one game, and it looked great as kind of a stretch. So makes you wonder, like, all right, you just got to kind of hold on if you're the Saints and change your kind of play style a little bit to where you rely on that defense even more.
I don't think you change it. I think that's what they were doing all year. I think you just keep doing what you're doing. I don't think there's a change in philosophy because he did it with all the other backup quarterbacks he had when Drew got hurt. he was doing it with Jameis, and he was slowly allowing Jameis to like grow into it. Like Jameis obviously had the most talent out of all of them, but I don't think you changed. I don't think you changed the concept and what the offensive philosophy. I think Trevor Siemian has the ability to do exactly what you wanted Jameis to do and all the other guys to do.
He obviously does not change his ways with the play calling that he had late in the game.
Bro, he was practicing, wouldn't throw
deep in Tampa Bay's territory. I mean, the fact that he's throwing well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like he's looking at Trevor Siemian in that moment, and he's telling him, "You better make this play."
Hey, I'll say this: as an athlete, when your head coach or manager or whatever says, "Hey, you know what? I'm not fucking changing anything.
Yeah.
You're gonna go and do this because I think you can do it."
Yeah.
You're like, you know what? Fuck yeah, I can do this thing. Like I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna make these throws. Now if the guy's like babying, he's like, no.
Yeah, we gotta hand it off. We gotta play with
Camara. Banana.
As a quarterback, you're smart, right? Like as an athlete, you know
when you get the handcuffs on.
Yeah, you know, like, hey, he doesn't want me to do this because he doesn't trust me. But like, if he opens up the offense and keeps it the way it's been going, he's like, you know what? I can fucking do this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No doubt.
Wait, do you think that what will be Taysom Hill time when he comes back? He would be
I think so.
The incumbent quarterback, I would imagine.
I would think so, but I don't. I thought that Jameis would have been the quarterback last year when Drew Brees went down and he played Taysom Hill the entire time. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do.
I think the concussion makes more sense to put Taysom under center now than to say, hey, run around, because you put him around, you get him hit, then he's out again for another. Because if he gets another concussion, he's going to be out for a few games again. At least that's what I think.
There was a stat that came out yesterday with the Saints quarterback records and Sean Payton since 2019.
With the backups?
With the backups. And it is just
13-3 without Drew Brees.
It is one of the most flexible stats that I've ever seen in sports. I mean, if you're Sean Payton, I would piss with my pants down at the urinal. You know what I mean? Like I would drop my pants to my ankles at the urinal.
Water's awful cold in it, boys.
Right. How we doing today, fellas? I mean, just 13-3. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to stir it for you. The graphic is amazing. Dove Kleiman from the NFL Network put it out yesterday, and this is at NFL_Dove Kleiman. Says Sean Payton needs to be recognized as one of the very best coaches in the league. To anyone that has doubted him, it doesn't matter who's the quarterback. He's the reason the Saints have won for the past couple of decades, not who's playing for him. And it says the Saints quarterback record since 2019. Breeze is 17-6. Jameis Winston is 5-2. Teddy Bridgewater is 5-0.
Yep.
Taysom Hill is 3-1. And Trevor Siemian is 1-0. I mean, just and he's got Trevor Siemian as actually a 0-0 because he came in relief duty on Sunday. He got the save. For sure. But I mean, we were talking a little bit about Peyton's greatness yesterday, and I don't think that we take it for granted because I know when I see it, when I watch it real time, I'm still like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? I'm still like, this is incredible what you're watching, how prepared his teams are and how you can do something like that. You can lose a quarterback in the middle of a game against the NFL's arguably best team.
Defending Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, right, but even playing right now as good as anybody in the league and win the game, with a guy that hasn't played a lot of football at all at this level.
That was his first touchdown pass since 2017.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
He was the Broncos starter.
It's amazing what Peyton has created there and watching that program run and how efficient it is,
which makes me think that
Myles Brennan to the Saints.
No, come on, relax with that. Which makes me feel like next year Aaron Rodgers could be coming to the New Orleans Saints. I mean, why would he not want to go play with what he's seen with all the backup quarterbacks, what he did into Drew Brees' career? Hey, let me go there. Let me finish my last 4 or 5 years in there and win a couple Super Bowls in New Orleans, and let's call it a career.
What was that? Yesterday we were talking off the air. I mean, if the Aaron Rodgers to the New Orleans Saints scenario happens, I think the timeline, like the documentary, starts with Jameis Winston being carted off the field.
Yep.
On
I thought it would be
Halloween.
Him and Club Dub acting a fool, dude. That's the funniest video I've ever seen.
He's amazing.
Jameis is always just in high spirits. Like he just doesn't realize what just happened to him. Really, he's like, that your career might be kind of over in New Orleans. He's like Club Dubbing in there with crutches. That's what makes him great.
Hey, let me reset. We'll be right back with Frank Wilson, McNeese football coach. Yes, sir. Proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember, check us online at jordyculotta.show.com. We've got merchandise for you there. You can also hit us on social media at Culotta Show. All of our sound is brought back to you by RMB Builders. Check out Rhett Bourgeois and his crew at rmb-builders.com. Every Tuesday, we talk to the McNeese head football coach, Frank Wilson. And Coach Wilson, it is obvious, has this program heading in the right direction. Last week we were talking about the big win over Incarnate Word down in Lake Charles in front of the Cowboys faithful, 28-20. This weekend he goes to a top 10 opponent in Southeastern over in Hammond and gives the Lions everything they can. They want. 38-35. Southeastern survives over McNeese, but they played a hell of a football game. I know the stands was packed. A lot of people were down there, including Coach Ed Ogeron from LSU, watching Cody play with the off week. And we welcome in Coach Frank Wilson to the conversation, just like we do every Tuesday. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning, Jordy. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Good to have you back. We've talked about a lot of mile markers in your program in the first couple of years here, in the first couple of days through the spring and through the fall. I'd imagine Saturday in Hammond was one that you'll probably look back on and say, look, there's a sign of growth again from the McNeese State football program.
Yeah, you know, we thought we played well the week before. We knew this task would be even tougher as we went against the number 8 team in the country, the number 1 scoring team in FCS football in Southeastern, who was averaging 50 points a game and nearly 600 yards a game in total offense. I thought our defense played lights out in our 23-20 game, held them to 3 points in the first half. Created 4 turnovers throughout the day, really harassed their quarterback, held them to season lows and passing and rushing. And if you would have told me that we'd be +3 in a turnover margin, that we would have more total yards and play and win the time of possession and more snaps than this offense, this team, I would have bet my life we would win the game. Unfortunately, we fell short. There's no such thing as moral victories, but here's the reality. A change is coming now. We're coming. We're bringing it, and we're getting better and better and better. I got that from you. A change is coming. I remember you saying that on one of your shows. But we're getting better and better each week, and we're improving. We're improving. You know, the realities. You know, the number 1 and number 2 team in the Southland Conference, 2 of the better teams in the country. We play a total of 4 times, and we split with one in a 3-point game with the other twice, 38-35, 20-23. And there's not much difference, you know. And then you throw that in, and then our loss to LSU, and there you go. That's been our season. But nothing to hold our head down about. Another tremendous opportunity for us as we host the Colonels. They get ready to come into the hole. A very dangerous football team, a very talented football team. You watch them against UL Lafayette. You watch them against Memphis, and they play their feet off, right? And you know that they have the ability. I know it hasn't been the wins Coach Rebo wanted, who does an outstanding job down there. They're probably a lot like us, so ever close, so many weeks. So we'll have our hands full again. There's no off weeks in the Southland. So we'll prepare. We'll prepare to take on a very talented Nicholls State team here at home on Saturday.
Can you see the signs of confidence growing in the locker room? I know that the outcome is not what you say, and you don't like the moral victory. There's no such thing as a moral victory in that locker room. But can you see the confidence of your players believing in what's going on?
Yeah, here's why. And after the game, I felt awful. I felt awful for my team, for my kids. They were dejected. They were hurt to the core. There were tears, and it wasn't, man, we just played the number 8 team well. That ain't bad. It was, we let it go. We let it slip out of the grasp of our hands. We out-physicaled that team. We took the fight to that team. We got to find a way to get over this hurdle and win the game. And they made mistakes in the game, but they found a way to win. But I do think, with all due respect, we were the most physical football team. We were determined to go make a statement. To hold that offense with that quarterback to 3 points in the first half, they're averaging 50 a game, Jordy. They had 3 at half, you know. And so I was just proud of the way we competed. You know, the first drive, our offense get the ball, 13-play drive, go down and get points. Next time, 12-play drive, go down and kick a field goal to try to get points. And then the chess game begins. You start matching one another and making adjustments. We both did so. We scored a couple in the second half. They scored a couple in the second half. We were 3 shy of doing what we needed to win. But, you know, we won everywhere except where it counted most, and that was in the box score. But a lot of respect for Coach Selfo. You know, after the game, the greatest compliment, you know, you can give someone is, you know, that team's different, man. Coach, you got a good football team. And on tonight, we escaped one because the team that played best didn't win tonight. And that was very complimentary of him. And I received it well because I respect him. And we had our chances. We're still learning how to get over that hump. But it's not for a lack of effort or want to. Our team, and I don't know what we were favored or not favored to, how many to lose by, whatever it was. I know we were not favored to win the game, but we never saw that. We never heard that. We never thought that. We had every intentions on, we're going to win this game. We got to win this game. And that was our mentality. And so the dejection of our team, the hurt of our team, it wasn't a moral one. It wasn't, but we played well. It was, we should have won. We'll get them next time. We'll get them next time because you know what, Jordy? Sooner than later, the Rabbits going to have the gun now. And this script going to flip. This script going to flip, and we're going to have our day. And when we get it going, it's going to be going. I promise you that.
I feel like I'm sitting in the living room. I feel like I can see the message
the
of what's going on. You better jump aboard now because the train is steamrolling down the tracks in Lake Charles, Louisiana. You mentioned the challenge that you have this weekend. Lindsey Scott and the Colonels on offense. Hayden Shaheen, a Baton Rouge native, a Catholic High, former Catholic High player, and really playing well for Nicholls on the defensive side of the ball. What are the challenges that this team presents to you this Saturday?
FCS leading or college football leading rusher at the quarterback position.
Wow.
Southland Conference overall leading rusher. And a guy, and the ironic thing is I watched, as you know, Lindsey throughout his time at Zachary, and a prolific thrower, high intellect, can make every throw. And he wasn't known as a runner. A guy that was athletic that could extend plays, but he wasn't a runner. He's about 220 pounds and a grown man right now. And so when you try to tackle him, you better bring it lower body, powerful, run through arm tackles. But he hasn't lost his ability to throw the ball. So he's about 900 plus rushing, about 1,800 plus throwing, almost 2,000. That's pretty dynamic. And we've seen some very talented quarterbacks in the last several weeks in Corned Word and at Southeastern. He brings something different to the table because of his true ability in designed and quarterback runs to beat you. He's at a 200-yard rushing game. This is not your average Joe now.
Yeah.
And so they go average. They go as he does from an offensive standpoint. They've been beat up in some spots, and I know they're getting some guys back. We'll get their best team that they've had since early in the year when they played the earlier opponents, the FBS schools that they played. Defensively, you're right, 10 from Catholic of Baton Rouge. He runs downhill now. He's a good football player. and they're spread throughout there. They're good up front. I call them worker bees. Those defensive linemen for them, they're relentless now. They play extremely hard. They're long on the back end in the secondary, and they're a good team, and they're well coached, and so very talented, and one that we looking forward to that challenge once again to measure us against some of the best teams in FCS football.
Frank Wilson and the Pokes playing against Nichols this weekend. Should be another classic game here as the Pokes coming down the stretch, and Coach Wilson and the Cowboys heading in the right direction. Coach, we were talking about the greatness of Sean Payton. You're a New Orleans native. Obviously, you pay attention to a lot of football, especially in the offseason where you try to travel around and gain knowledge and get better at your craft. Where does Coach Payton fit in there? We were talking about what he's accomplishing with backup quarterbacks. He's 13-3 since 2019 with somebody outside of Breeze under center. What do you, when you look at that program, how do you measure it, and what do you take away from it as a head football coach?
Yeah, so I was very fortunate in years to be able to go there and study with that staff in 2005, 2006, 2007, probably again in 11 and 12 to do professional development with their staff and his mind. He's a wizard when it comes to offensive football, and there's always connections, right? And so back in the day when myself, the Ray Peterson, the Marshall Falks in the early 90s were taking trips up to San Diego State to see this spot where this guy from La Rose, Louisiana was, and he was recruiting all of us and so many others to go up there. He had a coach on his staff, a GA at that time, then the running back coach by the name of Sean Payton.
Wow.
And I never connected it, honestly, until years later. And it was like, that's the same guy that was the running. I was like, that was him? I didn't realize it, right? And thus the evolution of Sean Payton and reciprocates the love, come back, bring CJ. And CJ and my uncles grew up together and all that good stuff. And so full circle, it gave me accessibility to be able to go over and study ball with those guys as well, and just was in awe of a guy that can not only from a schematic standpoint knew what plays to do. We took a shot. We hit a big ball last week on what the place called Saint. Nice. It's a two-man scat concept that New Orleans ran with Reggie Bush right off the heels of coasting on one of them against the Bears in the game. I don't know if you remember it.
Sure.
But we're still running some of the stuff that they did that we got from them way back. And they've just done a really good job year after year of building on their foundation and the ability to adjust within game to take advantage of their personnel. He's one of the best to do it in all of football.
Who will ever forget Reggie Bush tumbling into the Soldier Field end zone? That was as fun as a highlight as I'll ever remember. Early when, Coach, as a head football coach, a player like Myles Brennan in your program, somebody that I know you didn't coach Myles Brennan, you knew him through the recruiting process, but somebody that stays with you 5 years, puts in every piece of effort that he can to get on the field, and it never aligned, and then comes to the head coach and says he wants to hit the transfer portal. We were talking about those are some of the unsaid things and some of the unseen things that the fans don't see as those days for those types of players in programs. As a head coach, can you comment on Brennan just a little bit, but situations like that where players stay a while and it doesn't work out to get them on the field and hopefully it all works out with the transfer portal.
Yeah, every situation is unique. There's no all or absolute or never. And so let's take our case. I'll use us as a perfect example. I had a young man, Darian Dunn, defensive back for us, who was a preseason All-American, all-conference player returning. He was our best player on our defense. And, we have pandemic issues like everybody else. And then we have one storm and the second storm. And he's like, Coach, I want to play. I just want to play. And we were up in the air. Our stadium was underwater, and I couldn't tell him we're going to play. And certainly we didn't play that fall. We came up with a unique thing in the latter part to wind up playing in the spring, a unique situation. But we weren't going to play in the fall, and he wanted to play. And we sat down and talked. We talked with his mother, and I did the right thing, what I felt about him, help him gain opportunity. And when When schools called and inquiring about him, we gave him a complimentary recommendation. We wished him the best, and he moved on to the University of Texas. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I understood. You know, he has goals and dreams and aspirations, and they just want to play. And when they have done their time, he had been here for 4 years and had an opportunity at that time. I thought that was unique in his situation. Now, the flip side of that, I got a guy who was injured, didn't play, still have a lot of body of work in front of him, who thinks the grass is greener on the other side. He has 3 years of eligibility. And you've earned your way to now be in position to be the starter, to gain valuable time. And this school wants to poach you. Come here, it's bigger, it's better. That ain't for you. Yeah. That's not for you. This is your moment. This is what you've worked for. We've invested in you. You've invested in this school, and so allow it to come to fruition. All right, and so you can have your opportunity in your moment instead of going to another school and not going to the back of the line and starting all over. I think there's times where I see guys just jump in a portal for all the wrong reasons, and then there's times where there's uncertainty that we won't even have a season, or that you're down on the depth chart, you're backed up in years of eligibility. Well, you got to seize your moment, and so. There again, no absolute not. Sure. There's no all the time. Every situation is unique. I'm not, if that's the case with Brennan, then certainly, and it appears that way from the little I've seen on social media, everybody's complimentary of him and how, with class and dignity, he's handled his situation.
How difficult are those conversations as a head coach?
They're hard. They're very hard, especially, when you have guys that leave for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, I'm going to this school for conference affiliation. I'm going to this school because they have a big stadium. I'm going to this school because they wear Nike. Right. Like, what are you talking about? Right. You can't transfer just because they wear Nike. Well, how does that help you? And so when you make those decisions based on what I believe is bad reasoning, then I'm not for it. When you make that decision, I've maximized my growth here. I can no longer improve myself, and the opportunity for me is greater at another situation. Then certainly it's understandable. I think too many guys do it way too early after their freshman year or during their freshman year, or in some cases they sign them before they even play their freshman season. Right. And I'm like, what are you doing? You haven't even given it a chance. But then I think there's other cases, whether it was Myles Brennan or Joe Burrow, where a situation and opportunity presents itself, where it's certainly understandable. And we've had our share. We've received some and we've lost some. So.
Pokes.
I don't know if that helps, Jordy.
No, it does. It's great perspective from a head coach and Frank Wilson and the McNeese State Cowboys headed in the right direction. You can feel it every Tuesday when we talk to him. They'll play host to Nichols this Saturday. Cowboy Stadium will be the backdrop. Noontime will be the kickoff as McNeese will host Nichols on Saturday for what should be a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Thank you as always, Coach. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys. Go Pokes.
Go Pokes. Go Pokes. There he is, Coach Frank Wilson checking in from Lake Charles this morning. Love his perspective, man.
That's great.
He's always got good perspective and is always bringing really good insight to something like that. I forget about the days of Sean Payton. I mean, Sean Payton was the running backs coach at San Diego State when Marshall Faulk was there.
I had no clue.
Because the Saints wide receiver coach right now, who was talking about CJ, Curtis Johnson, former Tulane head coach, who is now the Saints wide receivers coach. That's who he was talking about. Grew up with Frank's uncles.
Damn, I had no idea.
In New Orleans.
That's pretty cool.
And would bring those guys out. So good perspective as always from Coach Frank Wilson. Daily, we're brought to you here by Falaya Real Estate. Remember, online at falaya.com. Get in touch with Falaya on their website or just download the app today. Very easy to do that. All you got to do is log onto your app store, download the Falaya app. That's inside your Google and Android stores. You get exposure on MLS. This is very different than for sale by owner. The Falaya experience compared to for sale by owner is really you can't really put them side by side. On Falaya, you get exposure on things like MLS, Zillow, Realtor.com, all the major sites. You get virtual tours, push-button offers, document automation with e-sign, seamless scheduling, realtor-grade signage, all from Falaya.com. Check them out at Falaya.com and see how real estate is changing. Barrett Blondo, our friend, is changing the way real estate is bought and sold here in the capital city. Put the power in your hands. This is for sale by owner on steroids, really. Falaya.com for finding out how you can sell your house very differently. This is a 2021 edition of Selling Your Home. Find out how Falaya can help by downloading the app today. Matuk and I will be back. We will look forward to the World Series Game 6. This one shifts to Houston. Can they force a Game 7 that will originate in Minute Maid as well? No, Atlanta wants to close this thing out tonight. We'll talk about the matchup between the Braves and the Astros with the big leaguer, Mikey Matuk, next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Geaux Chevrolet. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Abear's Specialty Meats, home to the finest boudin in South Louisiana. 2 spots right here in Baton Rouge and out in Prairieville. Stop in and see them in the Dutchtown Shopping Center on Highway 73 or right here in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. Online, abearsmarkets.com, and they're all over social media. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram. Abear's combines perfect seasoning with that authentic Cajun flavor. Find out for yourself. Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway and in Prairieville on Highway 73. abearsmarkets.com. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Geaux Chevrolet. Little Mikey Manning here in the break.
Yeah, I got a little Peyton Manning action
crushing
going
that
there.
beef jerky. We were talking about the Manning cast last night. Eli and Peyton back by popular demand. A couple of cool guests last night. Saw Strahan, John.
How cool is it when he kept getting mad? He was like,
good.
I don't understand why you offensive people throw balls 3 yards and the first down's 4 yards away, and then the next play Danny Dimes throws a 2-yard pass on a 4-yard play. It needed to be 4 yards. He goes, see? That's what I'm talking about. Every time. It was fun. It was awesome.
They're great, dude.
The visible frustration of Peyton is probably the best part of it because he gets so mad at the kickers, and then he gets just so mad at play calling in general, where he's just like, he wants to pull his hair out.
That interception that Mahomes threw,
it blows his mind.
Maddening to him. I mean, he just couldn't get it.
I think he was borderline embarrassed when they caught him eating that chicken.
I think
wing.
he was too. I mean, first off, eating in general can be embarrassing. I mean, if somebody's watching you, like just
especially
like intently,
a chicken wing,
right? And like I'm on national TV, right? And like a wing that he went in on, like a piece of fried chicken.
Yeah,
I mean, like he went in on it. And then you've got your younger brother there kind of like waiting to call you out. You know what I mean? Like
that's the best part about Eli. Eli just sits back and waits and waits and waits. And then he jabs you right at the right time. And Payne's like, oh, damn it, dude, you got me again.
It's a lifetime of revenge. You know what I mean? Like you kicked my ass for 20 years,
all-time
25
center.
years. Yeah, exactly. Last pick and everything. I mean, you're disgusting when you eat on national TV.
Was that a chicken wing or like a boneless breast or thigh?
Oh, I thought it was a wing, but maybe not.
It was bigger than a chicken wing.
I don't know.
I kind of thought it was like the breast of a sandwich that he kind of took the buns off of it, and he just went in.
Oh, maybe then.
Just went in, bro. I mean, like
just the way he was attacking it, I thought it was a wing. You know what I mean?
It was very wing style.
Yeah. Of a chicken breast.
Because you kind of eat like a corn on the cob.
Yeah, right.
Typewriter, bro.
And then Eli goes, you have a knife and fork over there. He's like, oh, shut up, Eli. And he's just like, I already got busted. Already got caught.
Jesus, man.
Do you breathe?
Oh, man, that was actually
Gladiator.
They do a really good job. They're funny.
That's the future of broadcasting.
I kind of wish they'd add Cooper just to one.
Cooper's busy.
Yeah, managing the money.
And Archie.
Yeah, he manages all their cash.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Good gig.
Oh, well, that's a great gig. That's a lot of money.
He was the best player in the family.
I mean, that is a lot of zeros.
Best athlete.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Funniest one too.
I mean, if you watch his film, none of them can move like him.
Yeah.
I mean,
none of them can move.
Yeah,
but he was a wide receiver. I mean, like,
well, he got the athleticism of Archie.
Right.
Archie was yeah.
I mean, he was more of a running back playing.
They like even the Mannings have talked about whenever people talk about Cooper, like, oh yeah, best athlete in the family. We're at a 4.65. Like, let's get over. Let's get real here.
Still an SEC wide receiver.
Yeah. So I mean, in the '80s. That's right. Probably got a 3-point stance over there.
Yeah, like Michael Irvin. They were calling Irvin out on that last night. That was great. A-Bears Specialty Meats. Remember, A-Bears is coming to Baton Rouge, back to Baton Rouge. They'll be over there in Robert's grocery store, which is on Highland Road in the Superior Shopping Center, Kenilworth Shopping Center, with Superior Bar and Grill and Lux Salon over there. Robert's is going to offer up about 630 square feet of space to A-Bears, where you can pick up all your specialty meats, all your boudin, all your crackling, all your turduckens, all your holiday specials. That's right. Stop in and see them on Highland Road. Brand new spot. Robert's grocery store right there is the new A-Bears here in Baton Rouge. And, of course, Highway 73 out in Gonzales, as you can always find them there for all your tailgate specials, whatever you may be looking for. A-Bears Specialty Meats, proud supporter here of the Jordy Culotta Show. We've got Game 6 tonight, World Series action. Looking forward to this one. This one moves back to Houston. Home field advantage for the Astros here, and they'll have Game 6, and if needed, Game 7 at Minute Maid. First pitch, 7:09 officially on Fox tonight. Starters are going to be, who we got here?
Max Fried for the Braves.
So Fried, who's played pretty well during this series.
He's their ace, but I hate throwing lefties against the Astros.
And then Louis Garcia, one of the great all-time names, especially in LSU lore. This is not the Louis Garcia that we talk about all the time.
This is the same matchup of game.
This is game 1?
Game
1
or 2.
Game 2.
Game 2.
So Fried versus Garcia, 7 o'clock tonight. Astros favored here. But Atlanta leads the series 3-2. Yeah. You've liked the Braves during this series. How momentum is starting to shift. Where do you stand?
I still have the Braves. I'm not gonna waver on my pick, but they have to win today. I just don't. I don't want them to go to 7 games in Houston after the Astros had to avoid elimination 2 games in a row. I think at that point
you're playing with fire.
Yeah. Snitker, the manager for the Braves, he went bullpen day last game.
Yeah.
And
with a day rest after.
With a day rest. Yeah. So they have guys rested. They have their starters going. He's got his best guy on the mound right now. I know the matchup isn't ideal. You know, the Astros. The Astros hit lefties pretty well. They are in Minute Maid, so there's no pitchers don't have to hit. It's DHs.
Which, by the way,
actually, is that?
Which, by the way,
DHs. It's DH. Yeah,
Greinke.
He rakes, bro.
Like
he rakes.
I mean, he's so confident in the box. I mean, he looks like.
Okay, so
some of these guys.
The most interesting man in baseball.
Zach Greinke is like, if we're sitting right here, he's very matter of fact. Like he almost has like
deliberate.
But he's like almost like borderline like
sarcastic.
No, but like social awareness. Like doesn't have social feel. Like it's just kind of his personality, right? Like dry, but he's kind of funny.
Yeah.
He would tell you, like to your face, and not meaning it in a bad way. Is like, hey Jordy, you need to articulate better. Or Jordy, that didn't make any sense. Right. Like doesn't mean it in a bad way. He's just like he's gonna
dry.
He's just gonna tell you, very dry and
very real,
but very good athlete. Like good at everything. Scratch golfer. Can hit.
The asshole.
They say he's unbelievable at basketball. Like just guys that I've never played with him. I've just played against them, and like the guy used to throw 100. Now he throws 90, but still gets everybody out. Like he's really good.
He is
super interesting.
I love his the way that he
there's a 69-mile ephus pitch.
I was about to say he brings out the ephus. Like I can't throw hard anymore, but I will throw like a softball changeup at you and buckle people.
Sometimes he'll be on the mound. He'll just say, "Hey, fastball."
He'll tell you.
He'll tell the hitter he's throwing a curveball, and he does it. Just does it.
Just to fuck with him. Oh, mess with him.
I kind of like that, man.
What are you talking about? Not saying the curse words right now?
I don't know. We had a rule from like 7A, but I think we scratched it.
I
didn't like the rule.
Little rookie hazing.
Anti-rule.
Usually between the 7 and 8 o'clock hour, just because the kids are in the car.
But they got to learn at some point.
Yeah, right.
They got to learn.
And we're not here to parent your kids. That's your job.
That's a no-no word.
Yeah, right. I hate when I get those emails. You said in front of my kid. Well, then parent your kid, man.
I didn't know I was in front of your kid.
Wait, change it for nobody.
Brandon Hollingsworth brought up a good point, and I wanted to touch on this. And we were talking about Myles Brennan getting back there. Are you good on the World Series? So, what do you want to close?
Yeah, it's. I'll have more to talk about tonight after the Braves win. I think they're going to win. I think Max Fried has to go a little deep in the game. I think he has to go to at least into the 6th inning. Get through 6.
What will this do in the big leagues for the Astros if they win this championship? What do you believe will have the lasting? I love your mentality on it. I think you're over it. You know what I mean? But it feels like the White Sox obviously weren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna change anything. I think people have their opinion, and the guys who want to keep saying the Astros cheat, this and that. I think that they're gonna still say the same stuff. But I think for the most part, the Astros won. There's nothing you can say. They didn't cheat this year. They didn't cheat. They didn't do any of those things, and they won. So you can't really say much about. And they don't really have many guys from that team. The 17 team on their team right now. So if they win, I think it's you know what? It's just kind of hey, shut up.
Is Correa a $100 million player? I mean, is he about to break the bank?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, his last 2 postseasons have been really good. His last 2 years have been pretty good. Really good, actually. He had a 2-year lull of not playing great, and people were wondering if he was just kind of forgot how to play, I guess. I don't know, but his last 2 years, he's come back, and I think he's gonna be 100. This offseason free agency with shortstops is going to be crazy. You're gonna have Correa, you're gonna have Trey Turner, you're gonna have Corey Seager, you're gonna have Trevor Story from Colorado.
He's done.
You're gonna have Didi Gregorius is gonna be a free agent again. I know I'm probably missing one, but you have
who did the Mets trade for?
Lindor.
Lindor, they gave him a big deal. They gave him a big deal. Yeah, Baez maybe is going to be a free agent. You have the premier shortstops in the game becoming free agents. So there's going to be a lot of money thrown out.
Would you shift Bregman to shortstop if they lose Correa? No, you just
keep him at third base. I think you keep him there and you go sign.
You go sign one.
You go sign another shortstop. Yeah.
If you were in this game 6, it feels like Atlanta has to treat this like a game 7 almost, right? Don't you throw all your hay in the barn at this point because you don't want Game 7 feels.
You don't want to go to Game 7.
Game 7 feels like a loss.
In Houston
right.
with all that they have behind them, and then that home crowd.
Right.
You have to
and you're coming off a day off. So I know both teams have the day off, but like you have guys rested, so they have.
You got no excuse.
Like, you have the whole bullpen ready. You have your ace on the mound. Like you got to go and do it, and that's it.
Would you rather have a day off after a loss or after the win? Like which team would you? It doesn't matter.
I don't think it really matters.
Stewing.
Yeah, they're winning. They're up. Yeah, they're up 2 games before they lost. Like they're still up in the series. They're in the driver's seat. They can clinch. I think the day off at this point for them is just to keep their bullpen healthy so they can use everybody whenever they want.
Daily, we were brought to you by Cajun Ready Mix. Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. Get in touch with them online at CajunRMC.com. Cajun Ready Mix can help you out with your project. No project is too big, too small for them, whether it's industrial, whether it is municipal, whether it is for you at a job site. You can get in touch with them online. Commercial, industrial, municipal, or residential. Cajun Ready Mix has 9 certified plants to service the greater Baton Rouge area, which means Cajun Ready Mix Concrete will have all of your deliveries on time and to the exact specifications. High-quality products, red carpet service, grade A equipment, and clear safety standards. That's what you get when you call Cajun Ready Mix. 225-372-5060, 225-372-5060, or online at CajunRMC.com. One thing that I wanted to get back to was that we were talking about Myles Brennan, and Hollingsworth said he had a question, and he said, Jordy's my guy, but one thing that I'll never agree with him on is taking the limited film that Myles Brennan has and going straight to the NFL right now. And this has always been my thought on Myles Brennan. I think that Myles Brennan, you don't have to have a year's long worth of film on Brennan to figure out who he is. He is, from a quarterbacking standpoint, he's one-dimensional. He's got a very high-quality arm. I mean, this guy is as good of a passer and a thrower of the football as you'll find. To me, he is one of the best 64 arms on the planet. I think that he's a backup quarterback. I think that he has shown you already that he's got the arm to make just about every throw you need in an NFL offense to be serviceable. I don't know if he's ever a starting quarterback. He may have opportunities to start, but I think when you look up what a backup quarterback looks like in the NFL, a lot of them look like Myles Brennan without the arm strength, without that skill set that they can do a lot of things okay. They can't do one thing great. To me, Myles Brennan is a great passer of the football. Like, I mean, you can give it. Burrow would tell you that. I think that Burrow has said that from just a arm strength standpoint that Brennan is better than him. So you're not gonna next year with Brennan in college football, he's not gonna show you anything that you don't already know about his game. And if he wants the experience of playing college football, then who the hell am I to tell him not to go do that? But I just think that he could get into a testing atmosphere, a pro day atmosphere, a combine atmosphere, and he can show you his arm strength, and you can take his film against Mississippi State, you can take his film against Missouri, you can take his film even when he was in high school. A lot of the film that he showed you during that 2019 national championship game season when he played, extended time and blowouts, where, okay, I got an idea of who he is. I know who he is. I know who he is. He's not going to show me anything that's really going to say, oh, I didn't know that Myles Brennan couldn't do that. I mean, and from Myles Brennan's standpoint, I would say, Myles, rather than take those shots for free. Now, I know that, Hollingsworth Ford's paying you, but I mean, I'm talking about getting into a real professional contract where you're on salary and you can you make the league minimum, $200,000.
I agree. Okay, so I agree.
In a vacuum, he's right, but
yeah, I agree.
He's got no skins on the wall, dude.
To an extent, like I agree that
does he need them?
I think he does.
Obviously.
So there's a lot of guys.
Yeah, he does. For his standpoint, I'm talking about from the NFL's general manager standpoint.
There's a lot of guys that go to NFL that have good arm talent, right? That don't make it and don't stay. That don't get drafted. That don't hang on to with teams as a backup. Maybe If he left, he could be on a practice squad. I think that would be more realistic on a practice squad than a backup. But at the end of it, those 3 games that he had last year would probably be his best film he could show.
Absolutely.
Right? I think that for his sake, I think if he goes somewhere, even if it's a McNeese, even if it's somewhere small, and he goes out there and he puts out a full season, stays healthy all year, shows okay, hey, this is what you already know that I have the good arm, but let me show you my cerebral skills of actually reading a defense and decision making. Because as a backup quarterback, that's the most important thing as a backup is the decision making. Is hey,
can I trust you?
Can I put this guy in, and can I still run my offense without having to handcuff him? And is he going to make the right decisions? I think that he needs that year of saying, hey, look, you already know I can make the throws. Let me show you how good I am cerebrally as a quarterback.
Great job.
There. How's
Great job.
There?
I'll spell it.
As a quarterback, and I think so. Yeah, I agree with you in the sense of he has that one wow tool that most backups don't really have. But I personally think that a year would benefit him, and then he could play in the league for a little bit as a backup.
I don't think that it hurts him. I don't think that it hurts him. I just don't think that it's a huge advantage for him where you say, hey, man, rather than taking these hits for free, for free, let's just start your clock, and Dr. DRCT or whatever it says that's an insult to NFL quarterbacks everywhere. Yeah, Doc, that's what I'm doing. The quarterbacks in the NFL are terrible. The cliff that the NFL quarterback play falls off of is, it's enormous. The pedigree of quarterbacks. Look at it. Yeah,
and even Geno Smith was a first rounder, and he was a starter, and he's not good.
Absolutely. It is tough to find consistent, good quarterback play, and the backups for that matter. When you see backup football, what do? Do you change the channel or do you stick there? If anybody outside of the New Orleans and Tampa Bay market that was watching that game, when they saw Trevor Siemian taking snaps, no disrespect to Siemian, but their people's first instinct was, this is going to be a clunker. Right. This is going to suck. But Siemian played nice and did a good job, but isn't that the feel that you get when you watch backup quarterback football?
Yes, but like I said, NFL moves so fast, and the reads and the decisions happen so quick. That's to me that's the biggest thing that a quarterback would need is hey, how am I going to be able to see the defense? How is it going to register, and how quickly can I process it? And not playing and not being able to do that, and just doing it on the practice field at LSU, and having basically 2 years of not playing football, I think you need to get your mind back into the processing of defenses.
And if you really think about it, he's never even played a full year of football. He hasn't played a full year at LSU, and injury is a massive concern. Because even when he came in against Alabama, were you not he looks like he's 165 pounds out there.
He was 18 years old.
He looked like a high school, but he looked skinnier than high school quarterbacks. He was tiny,
Fumble.
and obviously that's been a concern because he can't stay healthy. He can't even walk down the dock, dude. He's got a problem with staying healthy because his body isn't. He beefed up a little bit in the offseason, maybe a little too much. But do you think obviously I don't think he'll go to the NFL, he won't enter his name into the draft. Do you think he transfers within the SEC? Is that
Yes.
And then you'll see him play against LSU at some point?
I think so.
If you had to pick a team.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, Mississippi
you think
State.
Ole Miss, huh?
I do. I think just the turnover
A&M?
there, the chance there.
I think there's
They need a quarterback.
I think there's going to be
could be one.
I think there's a lot of teams that
Because he's going to be, if he stays inside the SEC, there's a chance that he goes to a perennial player. Where he's going to be a factor against LSU at some point.
He could go to Georgia.
Right, and he would play now.
Georgia's going to win the national championship, and he could go.
Let me see that ticket again.
Bro, who's going to beat that defense?
Bama.
I don't know.
Twice?
I don't know.
Somebody's got to have to beat him twice. Somebody's got to beat him twice.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the options. This is a great time to be in the transfer portal as a big time quarterback.
I think so. I like Myles Brennan. I think he's good. I think he has a good arm. But we're talking about him going to Georgia or
he's better than Stetson Bennett.
He'd start at Georgia right now. Right?
Better than JT Daniels.
Yeah, he probably would. I guess you're right.
He'd start at A&M. He'd start at Florida.
Ooh,
no, he wouldn't.
You didn't know who Big Boy was going into the season. He's probably he's the starter over Emory Jones. If they're both on campus if Brennan would have played his time at Florida, at this point he would have been the starter over Emory Jones.
If he was the backup behind Trask, he would have been the next guy because that's the same offense.
Sure, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. As far as
but
the first time you see Richardson, you say
as far as talent, like
forget it. 13's in.
Yeah.
He's a starter at Auburn.
Yes.
Is Bo Nix a senior finally?
He is a senior.
Okay.
Is he a starter? Is he a starter at Arkansas? Is he a starter at Arkansas?
Yeah.
No.
Did you start him over Big Boy?
No.
I wouldn't either.
No.
I wouldn't either.
I think it changes the way they play the football. It changes. It's the same Florida conversation. It changes the way that you play the game.
The guy's a cannon.
Yeah, that guy's a player.
I know, but that's when it gets into the decision making. I think Myles Brennan is better at reading the field and making decisions.
But is he?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
How do we know?
Because I guess you can only point to really one game if you talk about Myles Brennan.
How do we know?
It's the Mizzou game, and I think he got hurt because he was trying to follow that Joe Burrow mold where he could have gotten out of bounds. Instead, he was like, "This is my chance to prove to the team I'm the next guy. I'm tough."
Right.
And then it takes exactly. So because you said, as you mentioned, he roomed with Burrow. He tried to eat, sleep, and breathe everything that Joe Burrow did because Burrow came in and absolutely snaked the job from him. He's like, "Who is this guy?" And the whole team was like, "That's the guy." They're all pointing to Joe whenever Myles Brennan probably thought like, "Dude, I'm better than him." Like before he got on campus, Joe Burrow won because of his intangibles when he got to LSU. And then so Myles Brennan tried to kind of copy that formula, which got him hurt. But I would say if you have to point to one tape, he was carving up defenses those first 3 games.
So he did every game he did get better. Like he was making decisions quicker because the first game you could tell he was holding the ball a little bit.
Oh, the first game was so bad.
It was tough. But the numbers weren't terrible, but it was just you could tell like he wasn't sure. Second game was a little better. That Missouri game was a lot better. You know, and so he was getting better, but you still don't know. It was only 3 games.
And he's trying to send him to the league.
Bo Nix is a junior.
No way.
Bo Nix is a junior. Bo Nix is a junior.
He's a Hall of Fame. Who would you put on that list of people
He played against Les Miles.
Did he? No, he didn't.
What was he in the game that
they lost? No.
It feels like it.
It feels like it.
Who was that quarterback?
Danny Etling.
No, for
Auburn.
Oh, for Auburn. Golly. Who was Auburn's quarterback?
I mean, we're talking about...
And LSU lost.
We're talking about how long Bo Nix has been there. I mean, Myles Brennan's about to be a 6th-year senior. He's been there forever, too.
He's been there forever, too?
Yeah.
Think about it. We're talking about... He was there with Etling.
Yeah. He was
6 years.
And he still hasn't played more than 5 games.
I mean, he was coached by Matt Canada.
LSU has been a wild ride. If Joe Burrow doesn't come, woof. I don't know where they are now. I mean, obviously, the ship is sinking now.
Coach O wouldn't be here if Joe wasn't here.
No way.
This would have happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Would you have but I would have rather been here now because you did not want Joe Oliva doing that twice.
No.
You cannot have Joe Oliva hiring 2 football coaches.
We're in a better place now hiring a coach than we were when O took the job.
Jared Stidham was Auburn's quarterback.
Oh, he was good.
He's pretty good.
He was good. Wasn't he a Baylor transfer?
Baylor transfer.
Great at Baylor.
Patriots draft pick.
That's it. He was supposed to be the guy behind. He was supposed to be the guy behind Brady.
Supposed to be the guy.
Wasn't the guy.
City Cafe brings you the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, online at citycafebr.net. Lunchtime specials every day at City Cafe over on O'Neill and George O'Neill. Brunch opens up at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, so if you're looking for a great brunch spot, remember City Cafe, over 100 years in business, citycafebr.net. And as we've been reminding you, they are hiring in every single position over there, whether it's front of the staff, front of the house, hostess, bar staff, managerial staff, whatever you're looking for. If you're in the restaurant business, kitchen staff, get over to City Cafe. Ask them about a couple of openings that they have there. citycafebr.net. We want to catch up with some recruiting with Shea Dixon before we get out of here at some point and ask him the impact of this weekend and what it could mean and what happens on the field. Usually we talk about things that happen on the field.
I hope he says it doesn't have that
not much of an impact. Usually recruits look at situations like in playing time standards. And if you're looking at LSU, right, I mean, you've got to say that, my God, I mean, you can go in there and be a 3-year starter, 4-year starter if you wanted to be.
Not only that, but the conversation we might be missing, and I know just because it is Myles Brennan that we're not shocked that he's leaving because he needs to find a place to play for 1 year so he can go to the league. But it opens up how many other people are going to hit the portal, and that's what Shea's going to be able to probably give us some insight toward, because
there's going to be
this could be a little bit of like the floodgates opening up, because you have to be not only concerned for like a Myles Brennan leaving, but when you start talking about like the freshmen and sophomores that you brought in on this, 3 top 5 recruiting classes Edo brought in, and now you're seeing kind of the paradigm shift to where they were probably going to look other places because they don't know who the coach is going to be, and Coach O isn't really recruiting them to stay at LSU. He's supposed to be hitting the trail for recruits.
The beauty of the transfer portal is you can put your name in the portal, kind of test the waters for a little bit, and then pull it back out.
Bug Strong did that.
Yeah.
The linebacker who put his name in last week from LSU, the junior college linebacker. I agree.
I think they're gonna do
dip
that.
Your toe in it.
Yeah, they're gonna see what's out there, and then once the coach is announced,
dip the ball.
Do I like this guy or not? Okay, I'm gonna pull myself back out.
And look, that has to be expected, man. That has to be expected, and there can't be any
badmouth
criticism
on
any student athlete that is going to look for a better opportunity when the current situation can't provide any answers or no direction. And I don't think that that's happening. I think that Scott Woodward is answering questions to what the future is going to look like, but there also has to be a lot of uncertainty. You know what I mean? There has to be a certain amount of uncertainty that you have to judge against and that you have to negotiate against if you're in that situation. I mean, it's a crazy time right now at LSU, in LSU football's, existence. I think that the 30 for 30, the book, anything that comes out during this time period, over whether it's Ogeron's time or at least the last 2 years since the national championship, is going to be a fascinating watch, listen, in-depth look at just how tumultuous it is right now. I mean, there are, situations and environments that are being painted to me by people that are in it that are just, you would have to hear it, see it to believe it. I mean, it's just...
It's worse than you think it is.
Absolutely, it's worse than we think it is.
Which is crazy because we had mixed in all that chaos. We had the best team in the history.
It's unbelievable. It's amazing to think about where you've been and where you are. But I mean, like we've said so many times, it is very much a cautionary tale that I think. Look, Scott Woodward has a firm grip on it. He knows that this thing is chaotic, and you've got to find somebody to come in and rein it in.
Napier.
We'll see. We'll see, man.
Is this the most chaotic program in the country right now? Like, even just, I know that we're very close to it, and we know, we've all seen, the guts of what LSU football is.
I don't know how we could, But
it just feels like the program that's in the biggest, influx of what can happen.
I feel like USC's pretty close, too.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't care as much, though. They're okay.
We don't know. Maybe
that's the thing. I don't know if we can, I don't know how we could judge. I know that the bubble that we reside in is one that is very pressure-packed, and one that is very obsessive about the football program.
Yeah.
And they are in a state right now where you're almost in the limbo of...
It's a tipping point.
Yeah, you're very much at a tipping point of either buying back in, of getting the masses to buy back in. I think there's your core group of football fans that'll never leave, whether it's Curly Harmon, whether it's Les Miles, whether it's Ed Ogeron. It doesn't matter who it is. It's going to be, they're going to be passionate and love LSU football. But I think that, the people that you make money off of in this program, the people that have options but decide that they're going to buy the suites and buy the luxury boxes and buy the parking passes and buy and pay for all the tradition funds, those people are at a tipping point of, hey, look, do I want to spend my ancillary income here when I have a choice to go there and spend it there? Because I haven't really been getting the enjoyment and the satisfaction that I get out of that like I used to, and it's not as good of a product. So can I shift my dollar somewhere else? And that is the tipping point to me where LSU football is, where if you get this hire right and you get the buy back in,
everybody's coming back.
Oh man, you're everything's good again. Everything is the fiscal cycle is often moving because LSU football is just pumping millions and millions into it every year. But if you miss, and people with that types of decisions, you're Tennessee, you're Florida State,
USC,
you're USC,
but
you're Miami.
We do have more resources, or we do have more better facilities. But yeah, you're the team that the fall from glory is, man. They've had all these head coaches and nobody can figure it out.
Yeah. But you also have to be looking at the LSU job of the last 3 guys won national championships, and 2 of them couldn't tie their shoes and complete a sentence at the same time.
Their shoes together.
I mean, it was you had 2 characters in Myles and Ogeron that look, things fell in place. They had the right team, and they led them and won the championship. But from a coaching perspective, they're not as well respected as somebody that you can go out there and find and make a consistent winner. I know that there are people within the mix of this job that believe that LSU should be in the national championship discussion as contenders every other year. Every other year, you should be at the seat, at the table of the playoff, and not just Oklahoma of the playoff, like the 1 or the 2 seed in the playoff, where you've got a chance to win every single year. Or, as they put it, every other year, you should be in the championship discussion at LSU. Wow. Your resources, your recruiting ground, your support, everything that goes into running the day-to-day operations of a football program is right there. Like, it's at your fingertips. You can walk outside of the football facility, drive 60 miles in any direction, and put together a championship contending team.
Can't wait. I just can't wait to like the buzz
to get it back
on campus when you like
back.
when
that's
you're
the best.
It's just like,
is there anything better than that?
And is there anything worse than not having any anticipation?
I mean,
is there anything worse than going through Bama week and being
Tuesday
like,
at Bama week? I'm telling like it's Tuesday at Bama week, and we have not mentioned a word. The only thing that I'm worried about at the game is that the Bama covers of 27.5, so I can pick up my so we can win. We're sitting in a great spot, Jay. I mean, like we got past the hardest part last night. I mean, all we're waiting on now is for Bama to beat LSU by 28. Are you kidding me? I mean, we can go collect. Bubba, pay me. I mean, just
you need to keep that ticket.
Yes, just tack that to the door, bro. Make sure we don't lose that.
Do you think that everything that you just said when you talk about LSU football and the breeding ground that it is the hire really? I don't want to say that it's not important, but it's not the hardest thing to do in the world. Like you could go get. If you ask Dave Aranda, do you think he comes? Probably yes. Billy Napier, absolutely. Like, you don't have to even get a Lincoln Riley. You don't have to swing. You don't have to have the classic Scott Woodward splash of, like, LSU has to have this head coach. The place is set up to succeed because look at the last 2 coaches that have done it.
Yeah, but you don't – but the thing is you don't want to settle. You don't want to do what the last 2 coaches – you don't want to win a national championship and not have a program
you just have to be competent,
though,
is what I'm saying. Like, the last 2 guys, I could argue that – they weren't very competent, dude. Everybody around them was making them win.
Well, they were characters,
right?
They were in it for. I think what moreover you're looking for also in this job is that you're looking for somebody that can commit to the job. What you had the last 2 guys was they were using LSU's head football coaching title to
be a celebrity,
to improve their status.
Yeah.
Right? Like they were trying to get out there and, they were chasing women by being LSU's head football coach. That was like their tagline. That was their pickup line.
You'd come to practice.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you'll be sure you run a facility.
Reminds me of freshman guys in college. Like, hey, what do you I'm a baseball player.
Yeah, I'm on the baseball team.
Putting on all the baseball gear before we go out. Right. You are on the baseball
Mikey
Mytok?
Yeah, we know him.
You're number
Let us show you his locker. You want to see his locker?
Mike, you got to come out here.
Mike, you mind one time, bro.
I got your cover.
But, like all that stuff. Get that stuff out. You know what I mean? Like, commit to the program, commit to the – I mean, really and truly, you want Will Wade. You want Jay Johnson. You want –
well, that's it.
You want this commitment level of these coaches that are walking around campus right now. Kim Mulkey. You want, Beth Torina. I mean, Beth Torina has been the best, most consistent head coach on LSU's campus that nobody talks about for over a decade because she just does her job. She puts them in the World Series. Every other year, she's got an All-American or 2. She's usually like a 1 through 4 seed. You know what I mean? She's contending for the SEC. And nobody talks about her other than they're continuing to fill up Tiger Park and they continue to do good things in the community. Like, is that too much to ask for? Is that too much to ask for?
You don't want to hire. You don't want to hire a coach that's reliant on all of his coaches. You don't want to hire a coach with the caveat of like, hey, he's good, but he's only as good as his coordinators are. Well, that's not – you want a guy that you can rely on no matter what goes wrong, that he's going to have this program in the same position it would be whether his offensive coordinator leaves to go to the NFL or his defensive coordinator stinks. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you want the guy at the top to be able to hold everything together, and we haven't had that.
Stability.
Right. It's just stable. Stability, man. That's all it really is. Daily, we are brought to you by Relief Med here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, RELEAF med.com. This is legalized medical marijuana, which is affordable or available to you here in the state of Louisiana. All you got to do is log on to Relief, RELEAF med.com, reliefmed.com. Get in touch with them today and pick up your subscription. Or it's not a subscription. It is a recommendation from the doctor.
You're gonna stumble over
from the doctor. I went to the wrong website. From the doctor, all you get there is to reliefmed.com.
Which one are you on?
5 minutes CBD. Yeah, right. But you go through the questionnaire. 5-minute virtual talk with a doctor there. You can do it over the phone or you can do it virtually. A couple of questions. If you get the recommendation, you can pick it up right here from a pharmacy in Baton Rouge. The grow houses are on LSU and Southern's campus. And as we said, if you suffer from anything from anxiety to sleeping disorders to back pain to nausea, anything that is on the list right there at reliefmed.com, RELEAF med.com, a clean or a direct explanation of what some of the symptoms are. If you check any of the boxes, you need to set up your virtual discussion with the doctor, get the recommendation, and you can pick it up from the pharmacy today. Online, Relief, RELEAF med.com. It is a huge recruiting weekend in Tuscaloosa. How big is it? We will talk to Shea Dixon next over the phone here on the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Geaux Chevrolet. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. Geaux Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Geaux Chevrolet. Remember, Geaux Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Stop in and check out the group out there in LaPlace. They're on Florida Boulevard in Sherwood here in Baton Rouge for Go Express Auto Sales. And they're online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. We're also brought to you daily by Johnson and Spillers, our dentist here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Gonzales and Baton Rouge locations and online at JohnsonSpillers.com. General dentistry, pediatric dentistry, anything that you're looking for, get in touch with Johnson Spillers. Facebook, social media, Instagram, Johnson Spillers. Shea Dixon has good relationships, the best relationships in the recruiting world. We bring him on to talk about recruiting. This is going to be an enormous recruiting weekend in Tuscaloosa. It always is around this football game, around LSU and Alabama. It does not have the cachet down here in Baton Rouge like it has had over the last couple of years. But Alabama is definitely looking to cash in this weekend, literally. Shea D joins us here on this Jordy Culotta Show on this Tuesday morning. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you guys?
Doing okay. This recruiting instance scenario that LSU is in, I say that the 30 for 30 on Ogeron the last couple of years are going to be fantastic, but none more exhilarating, I think, than this time in Feed the Dogs, bro.
Trying to quiet them.
Is how this pitch is being sold, how it's being taken by recruits. Have you talked to any of these guys, and have you spoke to any of these guys, and what are these conversations like between Ogeron, his staff, and some of this class?
Well, I mean, they're trying to go about it, not business as usual, but with the approach of, and then this is coming from, we've heard O and, Ogeron say it, but the kids have said it is, and talked to some parents who said the same, is their pitch from Ogeron, the pitch from the position coach that they talked to is, hey, sit tight. For position coaches, a handful of them, can be debated as to whether or not they'll be on the next staff. Will they be retained? So, some of these coaches are probably saying, hey, look, hang tight. Let's see what the future holds for me. But the bottom line is, and this is the pitch, two parents told me this coming from all the way up to Ogeron to their position coach was, I always told you to come to LSU. I wasn't lying to you. I think it's the best fit for you. I mean, and think about this, Jordy. They've got 15 commits. More than half of them, 10 of them, are from Louisiana. So they're telling these parents, look, this is always going to be the spot for you. It doesn't matter if we're the head coach and the staff, or we're going to hand off the baton and it'll be the next guys. But LSU is still the fit for you. And I think that's probably one of the only pitches you can still use, right? I mean, there's not much else that you can say other than hold tight, wait for the new staff, and now we're probably about a month out from knowing who the new head coach will be, and then take it from there. And I think Ogeron has said it well before, though, of why would I say anything different? If the pitch has always been come to LSU, it's the best place for you, commit to a program, not a coach, it's not going to change right now. And we haven't seen any sort of mass defections. We haven't seen any new commitments, obviously, since the summer, but that's not expected, and certainly not now in the middle of a coaching search and everything like that. So I think my suggestion to everyone has been sort of hold on tight, right? Not to recruits, to fans and to any radio I do. I'd say, look, the next month is going to be rocky. You're going to have a decommitment or two. You're going to have Walker Howard visiting places. All these things are just come with the territory of what you're going through, which is an in-season coaching change where the news of the termination became public midway through October. So, yes, Alabama is going to be trying to get all your kids on campus. Yes, A&M and Georgia are going to try to be all over the kids that you've got in the class. But I think that you've got to, as an LSU fan, right, and even if you're Scott Woodward, hope that whatever your plan is and the long-term outcome and solution here is going to outweigh whatever negative kind of road bumps you hit here, whether it's kids decommitting or not finishing with the bang or whatever it might be. You'll take it if you can, over the long term, kind of right the ship.
How is the, hey, hang tight recruiting pitch being taken by the families and the recruits, though? So, I mean, you can say that, and that's the thing, but how are they responding to that pitch, I guess?
Right. I mean, I think, and Mikey, I think you're probably, here's like a good example. You would get this. A lot of these kids are from Louisiana. I mean, you look at Walker Howard. He's from Lafayette.
Right.
Lafayette's been so good to LSU over the years, even when they were at the lowest of the Myles era, when, winning 7 games on the field or whatever, and Bama was in the state plucking, a kid or two every cycle. They weren't from the Acadiana area. So guys like that just want to go to LSU. But, for instance, let's look at a guy like Walker Howard. You're the quarterback. Well, if a new head coach comes in and says, oh, I've got a quarterback on my team right now, he's going to transfer in, or I've already got a quarterback committed in my class, I like him, he's the guy, he's going to come in. Well, only one quarterback plays. So then Walker Howard's in a spot where he says, well, man, now the OC already has his new quarterback that he's either been working with on campus or he's brought him in, and I need to just kind of think of a backup plan. And instead of doing that in December when he's about to sign, he's doing it now. So he went up to Notre Dame. There was buzz about maybe an Ole Miss visit this weekend. I think he's got homecoming at STM, so he'll do that. But I think the parents are understanding, hey, it is one of these situations where we'll wait around. We'll see. We won't decommit and flip to somebody else right now. But at the same time, we've got to see what our backup plans are just in case things don't work out.
Right, and I don't blame them. I mean, that's what, if I was in their positions, that's exactly what I would do. I just didn't know. And I think you made a really good point. Out of the 15 commits, 10 of them are from Louisiana. I think that helps out a lot. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these kids, especially if they're from Louisiana, they committed to LSU for a reason. They want to go to LSU. They've grown up looking at LSU as sort of the goal and the destination, and it's just a bit rocky right now for them to think, okay, man, I'm committed there, and I've got to sign. And this is the other thing. All these kids signed in mid-December, so they can wait until February if they want to, but some of them are early enrollees. They want to be on campus in January, so they're sort of just doing like the rest of us, except they're the ones who are actually having to go through it of, all right, I'll wait one more month, and then I'll know who the new coach is. Then I'll hopefully know who my position coach is, and then I'll feel good about in mid-December just going ahead and signing, because a lot of them will say, look, I did commit to LSU for the program, but I'm not going to just sign on the dotted line and have no idea who's coaching me. So it's kind of just a waiting game for everyone. And like you said, you could totally understand whether it's Walker or anyone else saying, I'm going to just try to figure out. And look, half the time it's their parents, and I'm not saying specifically with Jamie Walker, but their parents who are saying, look, I'm a bit older and wiser than you. You're going to look around at a couple spots, see what else is out there. Then that way, if something does go wrong, you're not sitting here in my living room panicking saying, Mom, I don't know where I'm going to college. Like, go ahead and look around, see how you feel, and then we'll see what's going on with LSU come end of November.
Obviously, the topic du jour is that LSU is continuing to look for a head coach. That's going to be the only thing that people talk about hopefully throughout the season, because the football doesn't seem to be very good. But when you look for that question, it goes, all right, we defer to Scott Woodward. When you talk about recruiting, LSU doesn't have anywhere other the point than to Scott Woodward again. How much is on his plate? And at some point, does it get to be too much that Scott Woodward's having to handle instead of just being able to focus on grabbing a coach? Like, it seems like he's trying to wear so many hats at this point that at some point your plate's just too full.
I think with Scott, it's probably the only hat at least he's wearing that he knows he super cares about is this coaching search. And I think all the recruiting stuff for him. And look, this is a guy, Scott Woodward is an AD who sits around the football operations building. He's around every day. He did that at Texas A&M. He did that at Washington. He's done that at LSU. He's invested in recruiting. He understands as much as anyone that it's the lifeblood of the program. But I don't think that he's overly worried right now about where things stand, in the sense of he knows, okay, if I hit this hire out of the park, if it's a home run, recruiting is going to take care of itself. These guys are all going to sign in mid-December. If we have one or two defections, that's not the biggest issue in the world, because we can figure it out on the back end and be fine. So I think, really, to be honest, Lloyd, he's probably just thinking about the hire, which is exactly what he should be doing. And he's got an eye on recruiting, but he's hoping that between the class being made up of a lot of Louisiana guys, that the coaches can kind of just maintain this pitch of, hey, just give us a little more time. Let's see what the new hires look like. That things will be fine in recruiting. Look, I'll give you an example. Even LSU's tight ends coach, Derek Shea, got out on the road last week, and all of them did. And he's got two guys committed, Jake Johnson and Mason Taylor. And both those guys' parents played in the NFL. Mason Taylor's dad is Jason Taylor, a famous defensive end. And obviously Jake Johnson's father is Brad, and Max is his brother. And the pitch to both of them, and the parents understand it, is, look, it's a business. We get it. Y'all hang tight, but also you're in a position where it almost doesn't matter who the coach at LSU is. Y'all are going to play because LSU doesn't have any tight ends. They want to move Jack Besh back to receiver. You got Jack Mashburn, who, amazing story, but 2 years ago he's a high school quarterback. So these guys, like there are guys like those two of the 15 commitments who you can't pick a better spot for you right now. So hang tight. You'll be good. The parents understand it because the parents get it's a business. We understand how it all works. Hell, for Jake Johnson's dad, their son's a starting quarterback on the team. You don't think they're having to juggle more things than one. So I think even if you've got coaches who you aren't sure if they're still going to be around, you've got positions like tight end where the coach can tell them, you need to be signing regardless. Brad Davis can tell Emory Jones and Will Campbell, you need to be signing because you're going to play here probably next year. So a lot of these kids, I think, still are okay with just the reality of hearing from their position coach, hearing from O, and just kind of waiting it out and let Woodward just purely handle the hire.
What did you make of the Aaron Anderson story, the Edna Carr wide receiver, explosive playmaker, flipping his commitment last weekend from LSU to Bama?
Yeah, well, one thing I certainly don't believe that Orgeron told him to go to Bama if I'm not the head coach. I'm not buying that one. And in large part because Aaron Anderson was 50-50 on LSU Bama. The whole time he was committed to LSU, like publicly, like I'm 50-50, even though I'm currently committed. So, I mean, that tells you pretty much half of what you need to know. As soon as there was an opening, kind of a crack of, okay, look, there'll be some coaching shakeup. It was boom, I'm decommitted. Boom, I'm announcing my commitment to Bama at halftime of my game. So I thought that was a bit calculated, I guess, in a way on his end. But, hey, look, it's his big day. I think he wanted to be at Bama. But if there's one position, and look, I think Aaron Anderson's really good. If there's one position where it's not going to sting you, it's receiver. When was the last time LSU's ever worried about not having enough receivers? I mean, right now, Keyshawn Butte goes down. You see Dre Jenkins step up. We're seeing Malik Neighbors, all these great freshmen. I mean, you can go Russell Gage, DJ Chark. There's never a stretch, even when you're down to a couple of guys, that you ain't got NFL receivers on your roster. So that one, I mean, it stings to lose a guy to Alabama, but I don't think overall you're too worried if it's a wide receiver. You know, you don't want all of the wide receivers leaving, but one of them isn't the biggest deal. And I just think that over time we've learned that with how LSU's recruited and what the state of Louisiana gives you. They'll give you 3 NFL receivers a class if you pick them right. How
big of a recruiting weekend is it going to be in Tuscaloosa?
I think I saw some names starting to pop up. A couple of LSU guys Louisiana guys will be up there, Kendrick Law and some others. It should be big now that it's at 6 o'clock. I would bet that they're kind of pressing for even more guys to get in. I think there was some thought that the game could be at 11 or it could be, earlier in the day, which makes it tough for recruits to get up after a long night of Friday nights and then get over there. And we're kind of getting into that stretch, like I mentioned with STM, where a lot of people have homecoming and then you've got your homecoming dance. So I know they kind of want it to be a big weekend. We'll see how it ultimately comes together, but probably by Thursday or Friday, we'll have a good grip on kind of the names that'll be there.
Do you think LSU would have preferred that game to be at 11 o'clock?
I would have.
I would have too.
Actually, yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah, I think so. I think they'd prefer any of these Bama games be at 11 because you have that week off. Then you sit around all day on Saturday in Birmingham or whatever, just thinking about like, what time is it? All right, well, God, we still have 8 more hours to suit up. It's one of those wake up, get out there, and let's just play. We haven't ever gotten to see one of those Bama games. So a lot of 2:30s over the years. Now we push it all the way back to 6. It's yes, I think a lot of people are rooting for 11.
You mentioned that the coaches are hitting the trail on the LSU staff. How much weight does their message carry? Because when you talk about having a new coach bring in, you mentioned like you might even bring in a transfer quarterback. But when you talk about they're definitely going to bring in some staff, so how much weight does their message carry when you're talking to these recruits when they don't even know if they're going to have a job at the end of the year?
Right. I mean, I think it's just purely one of those things where, hey, look, I get it. And look, there's kids right now, a number of their kids have visited other SEC schools already. So it's one of those things where they're saying, hey, look, if you got to explore your options, I get it. I'm not in control of this situation either. Look, I wish I were still here, and I hope I'm still here after this, but I can't make any promises. But at least, and look, I've talked to enough parents to know that Ed Orgeron's message has been the same as these assistants who do a lot of the groundwork for him. Is Mickey Joseph, Corey Raymond, they're all telling these kids, just hang tight, and we'll see what happens. You can, if you want to go somewhere else and you aren't feeling it, just wait until you at least see what LSU's got. Because if you're bailing on LSU now, and then all of a sudden they get a new staff in here, do you have a spot still? Are you able to get back in it? And I think a lot of the kids realize, hey, look, I'm just going to kind of sit on this. I really don't expect many more, mass wave of decommitments or anything. I think that we've gotten to a point where we're 2 weeks out from an announcement, but let's not fool ourselves. This is a rhetoric that's been going on for well over a month, right? Of that, hey, man, this really might be the end for Coach O. You think that we hear about it. The kids hear about it all the time. They hear about it from other college coaches. So I think that everyone's sort of settled in now to a spot where they're hearing out the assistants, hey, just ride it out. You've only got a month left. See where things stand. And like I said, for a couple of these assistants may well be on the next staff. So I think these kids are okay with at least getting into late November. And I expect that. The week after the season ends, I expect Scott Woodward to have an announcement made. And I don't know that to be a fact. I just know that's his track record, and that's the lay of the land right now. You've got an early signing period. You've got a team to hold together. You've got the transfer portal. You can't be out there waiting until January to hire a coach. It just doesn't work like that anymore. So, and I think these kids know, hey, if I can make it 4 or 5 more weeks, I'll be good to go.
I can't let you get off the hook without asking you, who are you hearing, or I guess, who do you think is the front runner for the job?
Man, I feel like every week, or actually, that's probably a lie. Every day I can convince myself. Every day I can convince myself it's somebody different, and I think that's probably.
And today, who are you convincing that is today?
Who did I wake up convinced? I don't know. I mean, I can still understand.
Wake up next to you.
I can understand the Jimbo stuff, like, because people are getting now into his buyout. No, you can match the money he's making, and it's without a buyout doing this. And Scott Woodward's hired him before, and he's been here before, and he has won a national championship, all these things. And so I can understand that. Like, I understand how people are arguing that. I could say more so that maybe I'm not. I think, like, people push the James Franklin narrative early. I'd be surprised if it were James Franklin. I think that people have been high on Aranda. People have been high on Billy Napier. I love them both. I also wonder if that matches kind of what Scott Woodward's normally gone for in terms of, like, big game hunters. So I would understand why a guy like Jimbo would be pushed his name around a lot. I think that I guess for me, it comes down to this. And look, Friday night we went to Best Dress Ball. That's a lot of
saw you there. I saw you there.
A lot of the big wigs in Baton Rouge. And people are coming up to me, Shea, what do you hear? And I was like, man, I ain't got no money. I don't know anything.
Welcome to be here.
What do y'all? I snuck in. What do y'all know? And they're like, man, Scott's zipped. Nobody knows anything, and that's a
great thing. Actually,
that's a good thing considered. However many 5 years ago, we were in a spot where it was very public. They might as well have held a press conference and said, we're going after Jimbo Fisher and Tom Herman, and the other two schools just did what they had to do and locked them up. And that's not anything to then say that, O didn't work out. Obviously, they won a national championship. But the point being was it was very public. And I think it's probably a good thing this time around that everyone's sort of just out here guessing. Everyone's sort of out here making a case for who they think it should be. While meanwhile, the people even close to Woodward have said, hey, look, I really do believe he and maybe 2 or 3 people really, really know what's going on. And none of them are talking. So it's kind of just left us all guessing and wondering. But I think that the fan base has said, hey, look, I can appreciate that, and I'll sit back and trust the hire. That's what he was brought here for, to make this hire. It wasn't the Kim Mulkey hire. It wasn't the Jay Johnson hire. It was there's going to come a time where you're going to have to hire the head coach of LSU football. Now's that time. So I guess you have to, as a fan, put your faith into Scott Woodward.
Do you think he knows right now? Scott?
I think he's like, damn, I'm keeping it tight-lipped. I don't even know.
Shea, have a great day, man.
Yeah, no, I don't know if he knows. That's a good one. I don't know. I don't know anything. That's what I'm saying. This is how tight it is.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, bye, y'all.
Later, man. There's Shea Dixon checking in from Go 247. Go 247. Sports is online, and remember, daily, we are brought to you by GoFlow. GoFlow IV and Spa. You can find them easily online at goflowiv.com. They are on Jefferson Highway. Find them there at Jefferson Highway, right across from the old A-Bears. They're located at 7970 Jefferson Highway. If you're suffering from chronic dehydration, hangover cures, athletic performance, chronic illness recovery, if you're looking to help yourself in those areas, Baton Rouge's premier medical spa, specializing in IV hydration treatments with vitamin infusion. Get in touch with GoFlow IV, GEAUX, flowiv.com. Appreciate y'all joining us here on this Tuesday show. Make sure and hit that like, share before you get out of here. Go Chevrolet drives us every single day. We appreciate them. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.